I'm going to make an Irish soda bread, and for this we need 450 grams of plain white flour, 350 mils of buttermilk, left to room temperature, taken out of the fridge prior and let warm up a bit to room temperature, a teaspoon of bread soda or bicarbonate of soda, 1 teaspoon of sugar and 1 teaspoon of salt. So to the flour we add the teaspoon of sugar, teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of bread soda. Now we put our hand into a claw shape and give that a good mix. Make sure it's all incorporated. Now once we've that done, we make a well in the centre of the bowl and we pour in the 350 mils of buttermilk. We then, back with our claw shaped, we don't want to knead this mixture, we just want to mix the dry goods with the wet. Okay, so now the flour has taken on all the buttermilk. Just nice good pinch of flour onto our work surface and we put our mixture out onto it. Okay, and as I said before, we don't want to knead, so we flour our hands on the top of the bread and we just pat and push together. Okay, once it has taken a shape, we then transfer to a baking tray, a little bit of flour, lift our soda bread up into the centre. Now this will go into an oven at 230 degrees for 15 minutes. And then after the 15 minutes are up, we turn it down to 200 degrees. But before we do that, we help the process by putting an X in it. And this will help the heat go into the bread. That's it, and into the oven. Okay, so this bread has been cooking for 15 minutes at 230, and then after 15 minutes we turned it down to 200 degrees and we cooked for 30 minutes. And how we check the bread is we just turn it over and tap it on the bottom, and if it sounds hollow it's ready. So we just put that over to cool. And now we're going to make a wholemeal version, and in this bowl it's the very same as the last recipe, just this bowl has half wholemeal and half plain flour. So I've 225 grams of wholemeal flour and 225 grams of plain flour. And to that I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of sugar, 1 teaspoon of bread soda, 1 teaspoon of salt, and then going to combine that, make the claw shape with your hand and give it a good mix. Make sure all the ingredients are well incorporated. And then we make it well in the center of the bowl. Now, like the last recipe, we add 350 mils of buttermilk. And I've added an egg into this and I've whisked it up just for this brown bread. Brown soda bread. So I add all that in. And again, with the claw, you don't want to knead. You want to mix this in thoroughly without kneading. So you just want to combine the buttermilk with the flour. And once we've that done, we stop. We don't want to overwork the mix. So we're going to get some plain flour for the bench. Nice bit of plain flour on the work surface, and we empty out our mix onto that. Now, take a little bit more flour in our hand, just a little bit over the top, and we're just going to push together like the last recipe. We're just going to pat it together to form the loaf. You don't want to knead it. Okay, that should do it. Now onto a baking tray. Okay. And then what we do is we're going to make an X on our bread. This will help the heat get into the bread, and we're going to bake this one in the oven at 230 degrees for 15 minutes, and then after 15 minutes we turn it down to 200 degrees for 30 minutes. This soda bread is a real treat. This is a flavoured one. So in here I have the flour, which is 450 grams of flour, and I'm going to flavour this soda bread with apple, cheddar cheese and Guinness. So what we do is we're going to add all the dry ingredients together. So we have the flour, teaspoon of sugar, teaspoon of salt, and very important, our teaspoon of bacon, or bread soda, bread soda. Now after that we add all the other dry ingredients, the apple and the cheese. We'll give them just a quick mix. And soda bread can be flavoured with a lot of things. It could be, you could have caramelised onions, herbs, nuts, fruit, same as any other bread. So we make a little well in the centre, and in this I have all this liquid here is the same as the other recipes. It's 350 millilitres. But what I've done is I've put half buttermilk and half Guinness. So I'm just going to add that to the mix. Okay, and then our claw-shaped hand we mix in till it's come together. And once we're happy it's come together, as before, we flour our work surface, take out our bread, give it a good dusting of flour, and we just push it together. Now you can make this into scones, flatten it out to 1 inch high and cut your scone out. Lovely with soups. Now, okay, we transfer this onto our tray to the centre. And like before, we get our knife or a wooden spoon just to make our nice X shape to help the heat get into the bread. Now we're going to bake this for 15 minutes at 230, and after 15 minutes we turn the oven down to 200 degrees for half an hour. Okay, here we have our soda bread which is cooled. This is the plain soda bread. I'm just going to cut it open. There we have lovely brown crust, lovely soft interior. Okay. That's the plain one. Here we have the wholemeal one. Half wholemeal, half white. And this is one of my favourite. This is one I haven't shown on the video, but all I've done here is added 50 grams of raisins to the plain mix. And then here was the last one. This was our Guinness, cheddar and apple. And it's still a little hot. You can see the steam coming out. Our pieces of apple. Nice soft soda bread. Okay, I hope you enjoy making these recipes. See you next time.